Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be talking about a film called The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. The Conjuring is a film that is based on the true events that took place in 1971 when demonologists Ed and Lorraine Herron went to investigate a house in Rhode Island that was considered to be haunted. And this is a story to be considered one of the most terrifying cases. Now, I have to first say, when I watch a movie that's based on true events, I always take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. I always say, okay, how does it tell its story? Does it tell it well? Does it tell it poorly? And I have to say, The Conjuring actually tells a very terrifying and good story. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga play the Herons, and it's very easy to say, oh, we can just phone this in because it's a horror film, and I've stated that before, but they actually put care to these characters. They respect them enough to say, this is what they did, and this is how they would go about it. The actors actually put passion into their roles. The family for this film is great for the parents. The kids in the movie are great. Ron Livingston does a good job at playing the father. He's not a standout in this film, but he does show a great amount of devotion in his character. And Lily Taylor does a really good job at playing the mother in this movie. She's one of the parts of the film where I'm like, oh my gosh, like when she's scared, I'm scared. Like it's one of those moments where when you see this person freaking out at something, you freak out. One thing that I really loved about this movie, aside from the wonderful cinematography, the wonderful sets, is the direction by James Wan. This man really knows how to make a horror film. He knows how to structure it and how to show what is scary and what is terrifying. There are a lot of jump scares in this film. I'll get to that in a second, but they're never false jump scares. They're always intended. They're never there to get a cheap freak from the audience. No. When something in this film happens, it is intentionally scary. That's what I appreciate about this movie, is that it never cheats. I hate horror movies that cheat with their jump scares, or any scare, or even their story. This movie doesn't cheat with its story. There's a few moments in the film where I just said, okay, that's put in there to kind of make us worry a little bit more, but it doesn't feel like it needs to be there. But I never said to myself, that's not scary. And one of the big things that I really like about this film is how they show the case, how they go through it. The build-up of the case is what I love. One of my movies I talked about recently, The Babadook, has a wonderful build-up, and that's what this film has as well. The build-up to the film, it has this wonderful crescendo and then decrescendo to the film, and that's what I really love, is it tells a story in a way that makes you get invested, and you continue to get invested, and then as the investment gets to the peak, they slowly send it down. Not in a bad way. Once that crescendo is hit, then they send you down so that you can be relieved for a little bit. And that's what I like. They don't just leave it scary all of a sudden and then leave it there. They allow you to settle back in. Now, in terms of cons for this movie, it's more the ending to me personally. Well, not even personally. The ending is a little... Even though I like the crescendo it makes, it does leave a sense of, okay. But that being said, it's not bad for the film. It's not terrible in any means. But the biggest problem I have with this movie has to be the jump scares. Not the scares themselves, but just the jumping, the sound. One thing I was constantly doing was I covered my ear when I was watching this film. The reason I do this is because the sound is so hard for me just to register. My brain, I get like a headache when I watch movies like this. Like, I know it's scary, but it just hurts to watch stuff like this when the jump scares come out and the loud noise comes in. I'm just like, I can't take this right now. So I don't have a complaint about the scares in this movie. It was scary. I cared about the characters. I cared about what happened. So The Conjuring is actually a very good modern-day horror film. It does use a lot of those styles that you see in horror films, like the jump scares, and when they show something in frame, you're paying attention to that because you know something's going to come up, and it does. But they're never false. And that's something that I admire about this movie. And also, the care that was put into it, I appreciate it. So for that reasoning, I'm going to give The Conjuring a 4.3 out of 5 as a film. I think that the biggest problem that this film has is just towards the third act. There are certain elements that they throw in the film that just kind of go, okay, I guess we needed those. However, the first two acts are fantastic, and the scares are wonderful as well. And personally, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5, because again, I don't have a problem with the scares. I have a problem with how they're used. It's just covering this ear. It's hard for me to watch this sometimes when I have to focus on doing that. I like horror films where I don't need to do that. So guys, those are my thoughts on The Conjuring. What did you guys think about it? And tell me, what is one of your favorite horror films that is based on true events? Like, when it has that tagline, based on true events, what is your favorite film like that? Please guys, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and as always, take care.